Okay. All right. I'll ask you to sit down if you want to listen. Maybe put a headset with the background noise. That's going to be better. We'll get started very soon in just a few seconds. Okay. No worries. Okay. There's been quite a few talks about marketing, so we thought a nice way to end up all those would be to add a session in case you had any specific question, some doubt, something to ask. So we didn't prepare anything for this talk except this QR code that you can scan to get access to a pad if you want to put some questions down. Then we'll go through those and we can just see a bit what you want to discuss. Maybe in the meantime I can maybe explain a bit how the marketing is organized on the Odoo side, because I'm sure that one of your questions are like, I really like this specific app of the marketing scope, but I'd see it didn't evolve much. Well, it's normal. It's because we do circles with those, because we have a team of developers that work on all marketing apps. And so if you check the new things, you'll see that, for example, email marketing, appointments, knowledge, those are apps that evolved a lot with this new version, while others, of course, were waiting a bit. But no worries, if you want to see new things in social marketing, marketing automation, etc., those are, of course, in the roadmap, and we'll tackle them later. It's just that we need to find priorities. But we do like marketing automation as well, because it allows to do really cool things, so we'll get back to it. Yeah, we can check the pad in case there's any questions. Yeah, it should be live. Okay. Something that maybe could be interesting in terms of new features, because during my talk about what's new in marketing, I couldn't go through all of it. Maybe I can, now that I have some time, I can explain in a bit more details the WhatsApp integration. So the WhatsApp integration, there will be two modes, right? There's the mode where you just try it on odoo.com. And when you try it on odoo.com, we'll create some templates for you. We make everything work for you. It's mainly a test mode. The idea is you can straight away see that you do get the messages on WhatsApp. If you want to go further, you will have to create your own Meta account, and there you will work on your templates and configure your account with a phone number, etc. This is because Meta is very strict about what you can send to their customers, which makes sense because otherwise we would be spammed all the time. Once you get your templates, of course, part of this template can be dynamic. You just check the general content to see if this looks legit or not. So when you want to start a conversation with a customer, the idea is you need to use a template. So you send one of these templates and the customer receives it. If the customer replies, you get, and that's important, you get a 24-hour window to reply back, meaning that you get a time frame where you can freely chat. So it's integrated in the live chat where you can chat with your customer. But your answer needs to come 24 hours before the last answer from your customer. And that's how they make sure that you're not spamming their users. You're sending, for example, a quotation, and then there may be a discussion about, yeah, this is maybe add this product, I want this price list, etc. And after a while, well, once that's settled, a few days later, you shouldn't be able to get back to them. You have to send a new template, meaning it's probably a new business document. But we do catch the answers, and so if they reply maybe even later, we'll get the answer, and it will again give you this 24-hour window. Which is interesting because then you can really chat with your customers while you're working on Odoo. Say you're a salesperson, you have your CRM opened, and you can just chat, and it gets into their WhatsApp account, so right into their pockets. So that was to give a bit more context, because I had a few questions after my talk, so that you can have a few more ideas of how it works. Okay, I see we got some.
Yeah, we have some questions. So the first one is, can we target every app in marketing automation? So yes, totally. You have the opportunity to target every app and then to filter on all the filters you want. So yes. Then how does Odoo interact with Meta Pixel in SaaS?
We do play around with those mostly for the website, and I know they integrated Plausible to track your visitors. But in terms of marketing, when you send an email, for example, from Odoo, the techniques that we use are like proper to us with our own pixels and trackers, etc. So we don't use them in the marketing apps in general. Are you going to improve social marketing? Yes, that's really something we'll work on, I think, in the next version, because there's a lot of things that can be done. So don't take it for granted. This is just, for example, things that we have in mind in the backlog. Something that we, for example, saw is that, well, nowadays social platforms, they evolved a lot, and you cannot just post the same content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you want to sound very formal and very corporate. On Twitter, you want to be very short, and on Facebook, maybe sound a bit more fun. And on Instagram, you want nice pictures. So something that we have in the backlog is how can we allow users to still have this idea of I post a single post into the different platforms, but maybe tweak a bit the content so that the content is relevant on each platform. So again, not promising it will be done, but that's the kind of things we're exploring for the roadmap of the next version. If you're using a loaner for a marketing email, how does it? A lot of so in email marketing you have the builder with a drag and drop interface, but it's sort of the same as the one for the website, but not exactly, because we cannot use the exact same HTML code, otherwise the emails wouldn't look very good. Something that we always explain to users is that basically when you receive an email in Outlook, Gmail, Thunderbird, etc., each of those inbox systems, they have their own way of interpreting this HTML code and to render it in a different way. And they each have their own rule. So our job as email designers is to have HTML codes that's really compliant with the few standards that exist, because there's no real standards, so that the email looks good in every inbox. But it means that indeed in the website builder you have a ton of very fancy options. You can have things that move around, you can have things that zoom, etc. You cannot do that in an email, mostly because Outlook, for example, would never let you do it. It would just not look good. So it's sort of the same idea, because we like the drag and drop and the full control, but it's not the exact same tool. Now, in terms of going into spam, I mean, the builder is just that. It's a builder. It allows you to create your mailing, and then what will make people mark it as spam or not is mostly the content that you add yourself. If the content is valuable and people keep opening those emails, the reputation of your email server will keep being very good. If whenever you send an email, they just delete it or mark it as spam all the time, then indeed your reputation will go down, and after a while it will be considered as spam. But it's not related to the exact content that you put inside, except if you do things like putting a lot of very heavy pictures. For example, that's something email inbox don't really like. But if you do something standard, just a newsletter, a few pictures, this won't affect your chances of going into spam. It's more what you're going to write that will have an impact. I hope it answers your questions, otherwise, still here. Our advice for... Yeah. How do we advise to deal with email marketing for Outlook recipients? Outlook is a very specific inbox, because actually the tool that they use to render the emails is Word, like when you type a text document, which means that it's really hard to have something that looks okay, because we are using Word, which means we only get access to tables and some colors and some text and some pictures. So when we design new snippets, new blocks, we always try them on Outlook to make sure that it's compliant, but it's never going to look the same as another platform. Gmail will do something different than Outlook. Outlook will always apply sort of this very raw Word style. What we can make sure of is that it doesn't look broken. So the images are still there with the right size, and the buttons are okay, and still you can click on them, etc. But you cannot have something that looks pixel perfect and the same as a Gmail account, for example. That's not really like in our hands, it's just the way they decide to render the standard HTML that we give them. So I would say if you know that you have a lot of Outlook recipients, make sure that you test your content with an Outlook inbox, so that is the start. And usually I would say try to avoid very fancy designs with a lot of pictures all over the place and buttons, etc., etc. It's better to have something that's to the point with, for example, a banner and then some text, a few buttons, and then some text. That's what we do in the templates that we offer, because we suggest having templates like this. It's what works best also on mobile phone, etc., etc. The fancier you go, the higher the chances that some mailbox or some phones with some size that you didn't think about will have trouble rendering it in the nice way. So I would say keep things simple and focus more on the content that you write. And plus on top of that, if you want to really be sharp, you can use ChatGPT now to really get ideas of how you could write effectively with copywriting that's to the point. Hope it helps. How can I integrate my emails in Odoo? Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, but you can copy-paste the HTML code if you want really to copy the email template itself, or if you want to integrate your emails according to the emails that you receive and send from your mailbox, you will need an outgoing mail server in order to do it.
Yeah, I would say if you have some designs that you like to use, it's better to recreate them from scratch in Odoo, mostly because when you use our snippets and options, you're using all the safeguards that we add to make sure that it doesn't break in other systems. If you import and if you write your own code, then sort of it's up to you. Maybe it would work very well because you can check that in advance, but make sure you do check it against, for example, an Outlook, a Thunderbird, Gmail, mobile, etc., etc. Because otherwise you could have bad surprises. Do you have any apps similar to ECM, Rush, or Hotjar? What features from those providers are you guys looking for exactly? We can come back to it later. Any idea how to add a marketing automation activity about stock picking delay? You could do a few things. I'm not sure exactly what you want to do. So I showed it during my talk. So if you want something that runs all the time, that takes all new records and generates a participant, you can use marketing automation and it will do the job just fine. If you want some punctual email sent on specific timings, you can also do it with Studio. So it depends a bit the kind of triggers and flows that you have in mind, but you could ask Studio to send an email to, for example, the pickings that are in a specific operation type with a deadline that is passed, for example, etc., etc. And if in between something happens, it's live, so it will be updated, but at least you have something that keeps running for that. But again, if you have a specific ID, I think the best is you come to our booth, the marketing booth that's like far away, I think this side, so that we can just have a look and configure it with you, maybe play around with marketing automation and find the right triggers and filters for you. How would you solve the opt-out for snail mail on the contact itself? So it would opt-out for snail mail would be someone that does not want to receive invoices, I guess. Sounds a bit strange. I mean, I don't recall playing around with snail mail for a while, but I mean, you're sending them an envelope with a piece of paper, so I guess they will contact you if they don't want that, and you can configure it. I think on their contact you should be able to do so if they don't want to receive it in paper. You made great integration with WhatsApp. Yeah, Messenger. So we added WhatsApp because that was really crucial, mostly because, as I said during the talks, a lot of regions, they don't use email at all. So there's like, mostly, for example, in Asia, Africa, South America, those people, for them, email is sort of corporate and has been, so they do everything on WhatsApp. So we added WhatsApp not really to have the ability to chat, although it's really cool, but mostly because it was really blocking, because some users would say, well, my customer is not using email, I need to send him, for example, an invoice, and I need to do it manually, and it's really boring. So instead, we have this integration where it's sent directly. Messenger, I think it's a bit different. It would be more like live chat. I would say, is it in the backlog? Yes. Actually, we even gave it a shot at some point, but for now, it's sort of paused, and we'll see if we take that out of the fridge for the new version. We'll see. How do you live the bilinguist? Do you want to answer the language question?
Yeah, but then according to the language, you will have to create multiple email templates. So if you want to send an email in French and then the same in English, you will have to create 2 different mailings. And I think someone has added information about the snail mail flyers for a client that doesn't have email address.
Well, the problem is those people are, I guess they will, if you send flyers through snail mail and people don't want to receive those, well, they just have a piece of paper, so there's no way we can integrate that, but I'm sure you will hear about them because they will either call you or send you an email. And from there, you can remove them from your list. I guess you're not selecting everyone. I'm just not sure of the features that there are in snail mail. Maybe I would have to check, but I guess what you would do is maybe use tags, for example, and update the tags if someone calls you and says stop sending me flyers, for example. But yeah, so for the language, while the last question is written down, the problem is for some records, we're not even sure of the language that the people speak. There's a way, sometimes we have it and sometimes not at all. So it's indeed better to create yourself this distinction, have different mailing lists, for example, one newsletter in French, German, etc. So, because also you want to make sure that the content that they get is as relevant as possible to them, right? You don't want them to receive something in German if they don't speak German. This for sure will trigger marked as spam, so not a good idea.
How do you handle language version of website? You can have your website in different language, so you can totally configure it in the language that you want.
Yeah, for the website it's easy because the content is dynamic, so the visitors, they can switch and pick a language themselves. And again, we're on a browser, so we can do a lot of things that we cannot do in an email. But I think for the website, by default, if you have a lot of languages, we'll take the most relevant one and then they can change it, and we keep track of that language for their next visits. The preferred way the customer wants to be contacted, if they prefer to receive by email, WhatsApp, etc.
We can use tags, no?
Yeah, I think it depends. Even, for example, WhatsApp, it depends if you're using it in a marketing way or if using to send documents. I guess if you're the salesperson, the person will tell you, send it to me, and you know if he wants by email or WhatsApp. If it's a bigger campaign, anyway, if they don't want to be contacted on WhatsApp, there's a lot of safeguards that they can use, and they can say stop sending me WhatsApp messages, and so you will know that they will be removed from the recipients when you schedule something. If you have, for example, you have an event with reminders that are sent through WhatsApp, if they said stop contacting me, I will be removed from the list of recipients and they won't get it. When Odoo will be GDPR compliant? Okay, do you want to answer this one? Okay, that's a very broad topic. Mostly the responsibility is in how you're going to use it. But on our side, we do provide a lot of tools to get it right. And one of the features that we added, those campaigns that you can load in marketing automation. There's one called double opt-in, because that's really something we wanted to show was possible. So we don't have a double opt-in feature per se, where you just click double opt-in somewhere, but you could create sort of a flow where you say, well, I have a large list of emails, I send them something, and then only if they say, okay, I'm okay receiving newsletters, you add them into another list, for example. And you would say, well, my newsletter, I don't just shoot it around to everyone, I send it to a specific list of people that said, yes, I do want to receive that. What you can also do, if you wanna think about it, is on your website, when people subscribe to a mailing list, you can either add just a small box where they just add an email and click and it creates a mailing contact, or you have another version where it's a big form that you can customize. And there you can maybe, for example, add a checkbox like, I agree, I want to receive updates about this product, and it will be stored in the mailing contact. And this is a form that you can customize to include, for example, something that's seen sometimes as a good practice is to say, well, instead of just saying subscribe to the newsletter and you will see how it goes, you can say like subscribe to the newsletter, we send an update every Sunday morning. If you want to opt out, you can do it at any time, etc., etc. And it already helps being more compliant with this idea. Now, for the rest of GDPR, well, we store everything in the database, and from there we have the dates, so you can clean up your database regularly. We have tools to help you do it. But at the end of the day, Odoo is mostly a tool that we want to keep flexible. So it depends on how you use it and what you plan with it. You could indeed buy huge mailing lists in a shady place online and then use Odoo to send an email to those. But it won't bring you really far because a lot of those people will not open this email, or you get marked as spam, which will ruin the reputation of your email server, and then you're sort of done. Is it possible to add text at the bottom of category pages of the website builder?
I think it's already the case. It depends of which text you want to add, but you can already add a block that is at the end of the page. So it depends of the text that you want to add.
Yeah. Usually the website builder has a lot of options where you can really customize a lot of things. And if you have, for example, a footer that doesn't provide you the options that you like, you can just pick another footer. There's a ton of different templates so that you can have something that really matches what you want to have. I don't see any more questions. Maybe I have a question for you, Charline. Can you maybe just explain, you don't need to show it, an example of a marketing automation campaign that you did for a customer, like the broad idea so that we can see the things that could be done?
One marketing automation campaign that we have the most with customer is the fact that we configure a contact form on the website with hidden tag, and then they can go to the CRM and then filter on the tag, send with marketing automation an email according to the tag, and then create different stage in the CRM, and then according to it they will say, okay, if the customer with the tag sales opens the email, then he can switch from this column to another automatically. And it's really related a lot to CRM with the hidden tag, and then create a marketing automation campaign in order to switch from one stage to another according to the behavior of the customer. So it's really the one that we configure the most.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a classic use case because there's this idea of lead nurturing where and this is where really marketing automation can really come and help you, do follow up, etc. Yeah. Okay. Maybe a few more seconds in case a new question pops up. Otherwise, as I said, we have a booth somewhere there very far away. If you have other questions, if you want to sit with a consultant or with me and just check a bit the configuration, the new features, etc., you're very welcome. Tomorrow there will be some new talks about some of our apps. It will maybe mostly be around knowledge that we didn't see a lot yet, that maybe could be of interest if you are building a system to gather your knowledge and make sure you have clear processes, etc., etc. Otherwise, I guess we can consider it done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I hope you have a great evening. I think the bar has been opened already. Yeah. So enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you.
See you.